Hello, good sir.
Yo, what is up, man? What is up?
Not much. Just finished up a nice little walkie walk outside. It's a beautiful day.
It is a
Uh,
beautiful day.
I enjoy our little walks, every hour or so at the office. It's
Yeah,
a
man.
good quality conversations.
Yeah, it's there's a couple things happening. It's pretty fascinating and it kind of will go into some of the things we're talking about, but I've been watching the Live to 100
Yeah.
and it's really good. And I've been watching it with my kids and I didn't think they'd be into it at all and they like yesterday Noah asked for it. He's my 7-year-old and I was like, "Oh, you want to watch that one?"
Dude,
And the things that stick out to
same.
him,
Like he was
it's
wanting to
it's
watch it too.
funny. But in Sardinia, one of the things they talk about is these men are walking. Well, they're shepherds, right? So there's a lot of walking. There's a lot of dudes talking to each other, hanging out, and I say dudes. It's all of them. But the unique thing about Sardinia is that, like in America, I guess there's for every one dude centenarian, there's 5 women in this country.
Mm.
And over there in that blue zone, it's a 1-to-1 ratio, which is like I think the only place in the world that's actually a fact is a 1-to-1 ratio of man to woman centenarian. So anyhow, all that being said, I do enjoy the walks as well. I think there's it's an interesting how it's related to the topic we're going to talk about, which is something that struck me today when I was at the gym, also from Live to 100. They were talking about a big indicator of longevity is lower body strength, right?
Mm. Yep.
So I was in the gym today thinking about that. I was doing it was legs day. I'm also fasting. We do a Wednesday fast with a couple guys in the Kinetic, man, and it struck me. It started before I got to the gym, and I was at the stoplight over here off of whatever, got off 470, and this I noticed this car in front of me, and this woman was driving, and she's in front at the stoplight, and the light turns green, but her light, our light, the turn lane does not turn green, but she hits the gas. She's not paying attention. She hits the gas, and I'm like, oh my gosh. She stops. She puts the car in reverse. She backs up, right, and then in the short amount of time that the light was still red before it went green, she must have looked back at her phone, is my strong assumption, and she got distracted again. And then when the light turned green, she didn't go. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm fascinated by this person. And she just happened to pull in the gym in front of me. And so we went into the gym and she just like she couldn't from the car to the gym. She couldn't look up from her phone. Thank God she didn't get run over in the parking lot. And then in the gym, she could not put her phone down. And it just got my mind going, right? It got my mind going with like just self gratification and this world we live in that is very much about us. And it doesn't matter who's behind you in the car, doesn't matter who's in front of you in the parking lot, and even, but it's not even just the inconvenience that you cause other people. It really hit me that, and I started looking around the gym, and a lot of people couldn't get through a set of self care, which should be self care. They couldn't get to through a set without being highly distracted and sucked into whatever it is that they were sucked into. And it just like it was kind of disturbing, right? I was as I was thinking about it, I was like, man, the state that we're currently in, where we're so wrapped up and we're so focused on self, and there's very little delayed gratification, to include your phone, right? To include
Yeah.
responding to a text, to include liking a post, to include whatever is on your feed, whatever your feed is. There's so much immediate gratification that things like, and then today I'm a little more sensitive to it because I'm fasting today. And it just hit me like these fasts are truly, truly important. And we're in the shadows of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And they're built, these two holidays, effective de facto holidays, are built around just the idea of 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 these fire sales of like, let's get this going out, consume, 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 consume. And most of us, yeah, it was a great opportunity. My wife got a bunch of Christmas shopping done for the kids, but it's also most of us, if we're honest, are sitting there looking at at ads and sales and all these different things on our phone, uh, to gratify ourselves and our flesh and our desires and our consumption. And it just is it was just kind of fascinating, right? It just was fascinating to me how all these things kind of converge, and it culminated in the gym for me into I don't even take my phone in the gym anymore at all. I don't listen to music. My phone's not in the gym. And I just was looking around. I'm like, man, a lot of these people can't even love themselves in this moment without being distracted and completely sidetracked. It just was pretty fascinating to me.
Yeah, that's super interesting, man. There's I've kind of been on this health journey myself, and I've been listening to a lot of health podcasts. One of the guys I've listened to a lot who's really focused on longevity, life longevity, is Peter Attia. And he wrote a book called Outlive. And I've been talking about that, all of his content with my performance coach, Alex Racy. And one of his podcasts he was talking about is like the top things to do to, to live longer, right? And do you know that one of the top ways that people die are, especially here in America, it's car wrecks. And do you know why they die from car wrecks? Because they're on their phones, because they're distracted. It's not like, I mean, so, cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, like those are up there, right? Those are all like health issues, specifically in America. But one of the top ones is car crashes, because you're on your phone all the time, because you're distracted, because you're just seeking gratification, instant gratification all the time. And that was like really, really interesting to me. And I mean, I've actually been subject to that. I'll admit, like, I've looked at my phone and seen a green light, and or see the green light in the main lane but not the turn lane, and started to go and then stopped. And it's a real thing, man. It's a real thing that is hard to stop unless you're really intentional about it and purposeful. um it's We're reading this book right now, The Common Rule by Justin Whitmore Early. And on Monday's episode, we talked about, some challenges to reduce loneliness. And from this book, from the Surgeon General's report, one of the things it says to do is to get off of the phone, right? To like turn your phone off, put it away. Be present with those that you love. Like if you're in a conversation with someone, put the phone away and like talk to them, like face to face, eye to eye. If you're having dinner with your children and your spouse, like put the phone away and have a conversation around the dinner table, and not be so distracted by this device. And I don't think that there's some great things with having a little computer in your hand. Like there's a lot of things that we do for our businesses and communication that's amazing for the world that we live in right now. But it can also be a huge distraction to some relationships and health and a lot of stuff. So yeah, I mean, we gotta focus on delayed gratification a lot more these days.
Yeah, and I don't want to appear, we kind of harp on the cell phone on a number of different ways, but
Yeah.
this is what I found interesting. Most of the books that we're reading is fascinating to me. Most of the books we're reading about relationship and about all these different things, right? I think we talked about this the other day, just you and I, not recorded, but I was like, dude, I think all these books, literally all of them, if you summed them up and you took like the biggest action, the biggest focal point, it's a cell phone. Like it is. And I just don't think we're honest. And even think about it, right? Like even think about how you react when somebody calls you out with cell phone usage. Very rare is the person that handles that with grace and is not defensive immediately. And I'm seeing it now. And here's the thing, dude. You might as well call it what it's almost like nobody was hating on people for calling out, cigarettes. and when they started seeing the detrimental effect, the detrimental impacts of tobacco and the advertising to kids and how cool they were and the Marlboro Man, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody was like harping on it. And this, we did that webinar and some of the data that came out, that loneliness is more dangerous than 15 cigarettes a day. Loneliness is more detrimental to your health than 15 cigarettes a day.
Just bonkers.
And loneliness, again, in most of these books and these studies that we're reading, a big part of the loneliness, like probably the biggest part of the loneliness, is the cell phone, because it creates this false sense of connection and friendship and all the things that we truly desire. It nefariously creates, even through dopamine hits, and you get some aspects of relational chemicals released, but it's not the real thing, right? And so it's just fascinating to me that we're willing to put our heads in the sand so deep to just not acknowledge, right? And I'll admit too, like on Black Friday, like I didn't track it, but I imagine I spent way more time, quote unquote, shopping, an activity that I absolutely love to do. I do not love to shop, but I spent a lot of time like, oh, what's the deal? What deal can I get? What deal can I get? You know what I mean? And so I just would encourage folks to fast, and I would encourage you to rip the Band-Aid off and do it like do a legit fast, like feel what it feels like to be hungry, feel what it feels like to, no kidding, in a very visceral way. Like I think fasting from devices is legit, like, because it's such a stronghold. But a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to fast from some sugar, and I'm going to fast from, and I'm not trying to hate on like your level of fasting. I'm not saying that, but what I'm suggesting is just go all in, go 2 feet in, and do something that is very visceral, like a cell phone, something that's even painful. Hunger pangs are not pleasant. Yeah. But if you do it with intentionality, every time one comes on, you can be like, if you're a person of faith, you can be like, okay, I felt that, I'm going to pray. Like, I want to pray. I want to be intentional with my prayer. Or one comes on and you are conscious of something. You choose beforehand, what you're going to do in that moment. And I'll tell you, there's benefits that are scientific as well, right? In fasting, but it also allows you to feel some delayed gratification. Like, it helps you to be able to be hungry for something, right? And not to just shove food in your face, which is so ready available. Well, it can open your mind to, what else is the food that I'm shoving in my face? What are the immediate things that I go to? What are my sources of comfort? Am I eating ice cream not because I love ice cream, but I just need comfort, and food is now a comfort? Well, that's now an addiction. Like, it can open your mind to recognizing some areas of your life that really you would want to change, that are beneficial to you. And so I'd encourage everybody to do a fast, right? And you can start simple, you can start slow. There's a billion ways to do it, but the point is, do something that enables you to be present. It enables you to feel a little bit of deprivation, if you want to call it that. It allows you to have a sense of what it feels like to be in want of something, and then to be in control of that want, and then to do something very intentional with that want, right? And then there's also a celebration of breaking a fast. Like, there's a beautiful thing that you can do. If you do it in a group, you can have a dinner together. You can come together in community. The book talks about that. Come together in community and break your fast. And there's so many things that you could do that are just beneficial. And I would just encourage everybody to do it, because our society, especially us, right, in the West, and especially Americans, dude, we don't fast from anything, bro. We don't. Yeah. We are a instant gratification, obese in life culture, right? Like, that's just how we are. And to kind of fight some of that, to kind of, stand up against it is a beautiful thing. And I think it could really benefit all of us.
Yeah, for sure, man. Here's just we've kind of hit on a few, but just a few ideas on like what types of fasts you could do. Obviously we've talked about cell phones a lot. So, what would it look like to do a 24-hour fast from your cell phone, or a 24-hour fast from all electronics? Like, just do a digital detox for an entire day. Add that into like a Sunday and do a full Sabbath. It's awesome. Like I actually I've done it quite a few times now, and I kind of crave it. Um, Fasting for food, right? You talked about that. 24 hours of no food. I've done not as even close to as many as you have. You're pretty good about it. I'm pretty bad about it. But a few times I've done it, yeah, I mean, it's not fun. It's not comfortable. But it really helps you with your mindset. And another thing that it does is forces you to be grateful for what you have. Here's another one: calendar. What if you did just a calendar fast for, like, don't schedule anything? Kind of back to the Sabbath, so like a weekend Sabbath. What if you just didn't put anything on the calendar one day and you just like hung out, sat at the house, or like went on walks, like just rest, like true rest? What would that look like for you? Um, I don't know. Can you think of any others that people could fast from? Obviously there's like the sugar fast and carb fast and some other things kind of involved around food, but anything
I
else?
mean, it should be something that is a challenge to you, right?
Yeah, for
We
sure.
had we talked to somebody yesterday. He fasted from alcohol, and
Yeah.
he was, and that was a huge part of his life, right? And so it was something very, again, very visceral for him. But pick that thing that's going to be like the best fast is the thing that's going to be the most quote unquote painful. And the reason why the most painful is the most rewarding is because you also come out of that like, wow, that's, I have a sense of accomplishment. That was kind of sucky. Like yeah, it kind of sucks not to eat for 36 hours. I mean, but there are people that don't do it for much longer, right? And I want to go on that journey of doing like multi-day fast. I mean, Eric and I have done a number of 2-day fasts, but it's also interesting because the second day is easier and the benefits are magnified, right? And so like there's so many things that we can do. Just pick that thing that that you're potentially addicted to and do a fast from that. If you have a habit, what your habits are. If you are in some kind of addiction, fast from that thing. And don't get overwhelmed too, like with the device. Turn your device off for an hour a day or 2 hours a day. Like start like that. I mean, there's ways to start. Just make it meaningful is all it really boils down to.
Love it, dude.
Yeah, buddy.
Um, Go take action. Be better. Be uncommon.
Idiot.
Giddy up.
Be uncomfortable. Don't be afraid of discomfort. Don't be a
Yeah.
sissy pants. Don't
Suck
be a
it up.
sissy pants. Suck it up, buttercup. Suck it up, buttercup.
Bye now.